As always, that was our officially licensed theme song from our good friend Colin Gow. I am Steve Shoney. I'm the city manager for the City of Upper Arlington. I'm here with my co-host.
Oh, thank you. Darren Shulman, city attorney. And I ran into our other theme song artist yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I saw
about
her.
The debate.
She does. I had filled her in on it. For those who missed maybe our last episode, or just have never listened, which is most people. We have a little bit of a controversy because Colin Gow heard that we had Katie Oberly do a special edition theme song for us. And then I went and saw Colin play, and he expressed some feelings.
But the best part about it was he just unsolicited. He was at an actual concert.
No, he was playing at Natalie's down in Grandview.
It wasn't like he was just hanging out with you.
No, and he introduces the song and he starts expressing feelings about it. So just so everybody knows, we have talked to both Katie and Colin, and everything's fine in the Upper Arlington musical world. The beef has been squashed. Katie is planning on going and seeing Colin live, and we've got it worked out.
All right, cool. I'm going to try to rekindle it, but I appreciate your efforts at peacemaking.
Well, we're here to build community. And so, speaking of building community, and maybe even building a community center.
Transitions are on point today, Steve.
You like that? You like that segue? We are actually in the Bob Crane Community Center today, and we have a couple of very special guests. We have with us today Tanny Crane and Tim Miller. Both are part of the Crane family. Tanny's dad was Bob Crane, and Tim is married to Tanny's sister Jamie. So welcome to you both.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Good. This is our first time we're doing it in this location.
Well, this is the first time in this room. Remember, we did our last one downstairs.
I meant this literal location.
Yeah, yes, in this room. We are in the green room in the community center. So very excited to be here today. So we did explain to Tim and Tanny the concept of Start Bench Cut, and we will see how it goes. So now, when both of you filled out your little questionnaires we gave you, there was something of a common theme. So on your musical taste, you expressed a interest in 70s rock, Rolling Stone, Beatles, that kind of genre. You expressed an interest in the blues.
Right.
Now, my favorite movie of all time brings those two things together.
This is a big leap because you've never seen this movie. The whole bit's just...
Well, it should work if it's
okay.
Yeah. My favorite movie of all time is The Blues Brothers.
Of course. Of course.
That's a relief, because if you're like, what's that?
Because we both live in Chicago.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. So
this is going to be a hit, Steve.
This is going to be a hit. So your Start Bench Cut is from the artists who did songs in the Blues Brothers. So you have to pick one that is on high rotation on your playlist every day, one that you're bringing in once a week, and one that's gone.
You can't listen to it.
You cannot listen to this
artist.
artist.
Is it just the song or the entire artist?
The artist.
Oh boy.
It's
by and we have to agree.
No, you could do your own. We've never done.
No, I want to make them agree. I want to see how this goes. I want to see if you guys can agree.
If you can't agree, we'll entertain a motion to allow you to separate.
That's the attorney in him.
Yeah.
That is the
But
attorney.
we would like you to agree. That's probably harmonious.
Yeah. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
James Brown. And you can either make this about the movie or the artist themselves, because James Brown did the famous scene in the church where Jake and Elwood have the vision. They're on a mission from God from that point forward. One of the great cinematic scenes in all of American cinema.
I remember it.
Aretha Franklin in the diner doing Think, or Ray Charles.
I mean, the
James
cut's
Brown,
going to be hard.
James Brown, Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul.
So it's not the song; it's the artist.
You guys can either make it about the song in the movie or about the artist.
You can make this question your own. And I like when our guests are in pain when we ask the question. That means
there is an element that we know we've hit it right when we see the look on your faces, which is
I mean that scene where Aretha does Think, And isn't that when they're like trying to drag her husband away to join the band? That was
Yes.
pretty good, but I don't
Ray
know.
Charles.
Ray Charles, yeah.
And then James Brown in the church.
I know. God.
That's mean.
That's the intent.
And
Welcome to the show.
and there are no three-headed coins. This is the
No.
other problem. What's your gut?
I would lean toward the Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles versus the James Brown.
All right.
as-
All right.
So I give you two choices there.
All right. Should we go with Ray Charles for the
Start.
You're starting Ray Charles.
Yeah.
You got the right one, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Aretha is on the bench.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then
Just cut James Brown.
I know.
just cut.
It's like sacrilegious.
I know.
It's
Cut James Brown.
sacrilegious.
I know.
I can't
Cut
argue
James Brown.
with you. I can't argue.
I can cut James Brown.
Yeah, that's tough.
I go more toward the inspirational.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But then Jake and Elwood aren't on a mission from God anymore, and the whole movie falls apart. I don't know. It's tough, but you
gotta
got to
do
make a
it.
choice. That's
So you agree,
do it.
Ray Charles number one?
Yeah.
Is it now when you say that? Is it because of that part of the movie, or his sort of musical catalog? Because he's done a lot of good stuff.
Mine's kind of musical catalog and just his
Style.
style, yeah. Because he just persists
Did you
through generations.
Did you ever see his bus that he traveled in?
No, I never did.
It was this black bus that had a keyboard going down the side. Ray Charles. It was cool when you. So he's just style.
He did the Pepsi commercials, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's not what he wants to be remembered for, but that's why I said. That's
Yeah.
right one, baby.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did do the Pepsi commercials. Well, good. So that's
Wow,
impressive
that was
that we
tough.
got you guys to. Oh, you missed the fist bump. He's trying to fist bump.
But
Okay.
you agreed, and that's
They
kind of
did.
huge.
They did. It's
family.
family. That's good. That's really good. So, the reason we're here today is because we just had a fantastic weekend. Last weekend, we're recording this on April 7th. So we had a fantastic weekend this past weekend where we officially opened the Bob Crane Community Center. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about how the family got involved in this project and kind of what it's meant for you guys?
No, go ahead, Tim. You were instrumental.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I just mean, well, I moved here in '92, and people were talking about a community center. Loanne, probably more than, Bob, but
Loanne being your mother-in-law.
my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
And it continued on, and when I think, after feasibility and when it finally passed and looked like it was going to become a reality, I know that Jamie, my wife Jamie, and my mother-in-law Loanne were talking about that and how excited, and it's really something that the community has needed for so long. It's kind of like that one crown jewel that it hasn't had, because there are so many other things that are just perfect. And so, I don't know. That was my perspective, sort of coming in from the outside.
That's great.
And then I think, I couldn't agree more. And I think that Jamie and Tim were just instrumental once they got Mom on board, and although Margie Pizzuti got to her, and that
Yeah.
was
That's
history.
usually the end of.
We've had her on the
Yeah.
pod, too.
Yeah, we have.
But I think the really almost spiritual but exciting part for our family is once Mom made that significant gift and made her commitment, and she's been searching for something to honor Dad for the longest time. And there's been little opportunities around, and nothing for the whole family to really gravitate towards, and nothing that really spoke about Dad. And so when this landed, I think Mom said, this family, this is it. And that her commitment and her kind of feeling about it and inspiration, and then led by Jamie and Tim, the idea that every single member of the family, through generations, through the fourth generation, gave something. So everyone had skin in the game. Everyone was committed. It was so exciting to see that worked. That brought us all together, and it really the centerpiece of the spirit of Upper Arlington. To us, that just really exemplified what this is all about.
One thing that I think is really cool about, when a building is named after someone is kind of learning about them. And so for people who maybe are new to the community or maybe listening to this outside of Upper Arlington, can you just tell us about your dad? Who's Bob Crane? What do you want people to know about him? What is sort of that legacy that you want to keep going forward?
Yeah, Dad, he was a businessman. He was very serious about business, but he always ingrained in all of us that this community has been so good to us that we have a responsibility to give back. So that was from the time all of us were kids. And so we grew up going to, he was running the United Way. We went to different nonprofits. We went to different churches. But it was always about giving back. And I think it reflected, as people have heard the story, his childhood. He basically grew up in Upper Arlington in a lovely home on Stanford Road. And during the Depression, they lost everything. And so sitting on that curb with his sister and his brother, watching all the furniture being taken out, and just kind of fast forward, we went on a bus tour maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and we drove by the house.
Still there?
Oh yeah, the house is still there, and Uncle Jim, Dad had passed away, but
I think they're condos now.
Okay.
Uncle Jim told the story about the house. Then we drove by the apartment, and we were actually able to go through the apartment. I remembered it, but then we went by the Jones now Jones Middle School, and it was just, we kind of just drove through Dad's past. And so it gave us just a better, and especially our kids, an appreciation for, you thought you had it all, it was all taken away, but it left a scar, but it was a learning opportunity. And so for my dad and his brother, they grew up even closer in a very close-knit family. And the true value that the community came together for my dad, gave him his first tennis racket, and really wrapped their arms around him. And he never forgot that. And so that was his mentality to all of us. And so he believed in giving back, and he also believed it's earned. And then he also so committed to Mom, and allowing her to then also see the energy and the love of Upper Arlington community. And then she served on the school board. So it became just a family thing. But I think it was that spirit of community that was really important to him.
And so then the brothers went on to found Crane Plastics.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it was their father.
Okay.
So actually, he was out of work for years and years. He was a serial entrepreneur, Bob Crane Sr. And then he, post-war, behind the Museum of Art was a kiosk, and there was a guy running plastic extrusion, and it was like a Quonset hut.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, we've called Papu, went in there, started working, and saw an opportunity that they kind of closed down the shop on Friday nights, but they had so many customers. So he asked if he could borrow time, and that led to borrowing $500 from a secretary, and he started Crane Plastics when he was 56.
Oh gosh, wow.
So my dad started almost right away, and then Uncle Jim started 10 years later. So they're almost co-founders, but Papu started it.
So I think when you say Crane Plastics, the furthest most people get in kind of understanding the vision of what that might be is the famous scene from The Graduate,
It's my dad's favorite movie.
Plastics. What is Crane Group, and what has that evolved into today?
Yeah. So that was, plastic manufacturing. I always think of the term Play-Doh Fun Factory, going through the little dies.
Oh, yeah.
It was extrusion. So we made parts and pieces for Anderson Windows and Rubbermaid and then we also acquired a vinyl siding company, started making vinyl siding. So post-war, plastics was
Right.
it. It was really the growth vehicle for exterior siding of homes and everything. So then all of the eggs were in kind of one basket. We were all PVC, polyvinyl chloride, and all of our products were through other people, mostly OEMs. Original equipment manufacturers, and mostly in home building products. So as we grew, and Dad and Jim and Papu were very successful, first they believed in anti-nepotism policy, so they developed an incredible leadership team, and they just didn't want to violate that trust, so no kids. So 4 kids on my family, 4 kids in Jim's. The beauty of that is that we were able to really experiment and go pursue our passions. So they were building a great company, but it was pretty single focused. So finally, 30 plus years later, 40 years later, they relaxed that policy when they were in their 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And when asked, what are you going to do with the company? And they would laugh and talk to each other, typical founder mentality.
Right.
So anyway, I won't go into the story, but my brothers became doctors, so they were off the list. So then my dad came after me. He was very persistent. I was happy in Chicago. Jamie was happy in Chicago. And anyhow, came back to Columbus. And over the years...
So what were you doing in Chicago?
Oh, I had a dream job. I was working for Quaker Oats, the brand manager of Cap'n Crunch cereals.
Oh,
who better?
man, that's awesome.
I know. You market to 9 to 11-year-olds.
And Darren.
So,
And the secondary audience being college students. So it was the most awesome job.
So Darren I frequently describe as the smartest 10-year-old boy I know. So
Crunch berries and the tall berries. I mean, I'm here right there with you, man.
Christmas Crunch.
Oh, yeah. Is that you?
On my watch. I mean, that's PC now, but yeah,
No, I'm in.
super fun.
Now I'm sad. I mean, the plastics is cool too, but Captain Crunch is the future.
So anyway, fast forward, we looked at the business. We looked at the generation coming up, and they didn't have any connection to plastic manufacturing. We built some great businesses, kind of skunk works like TimberTech, which is a wood composite decking that was ours that we built up. So we got to be very large through the success of Dad and Jim, and really decided that we had lost our roots, which was very entrepreneurial, very bottom line focused, very customer focused. So we needed to get small to get big again. So we basically imploded the company into, actually at the time, 9 different businesses, 9 different LLCs. Kept our plastic manufacturing, had a separate business for our TimberTech decking, a separate business for our vinyl siding, and so on and so forth. We had actually acquired a few businesses along the way that were treated passively, one being Able Roof,
okay.
Oh, yeah.
and a few other smaller businesses. So they all became their own LLCs that we more actively managed. And we had a draft of all of our associates went to one of these companies.
Like a fantasy
It was
business draft.
Crazy.
It was.
So it eventually wound.
So how early did Tim get picked in the draft? So Tim,
So I was corporate attorney.
yeah.
So
Last? Sorry. I mean, attorneys nobody wants us.
Exactly.
He was part of the team
Oh,
that did the drafting.
So he was part of the commissioner's team on the
He was
draft.
part of the
Exactly.
commissioner's team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart-
A
He
lot
might-
of paperwork.
Yeah.
He looked somewhat askance at us at sometimes, saying, "What in the world are we doing?"
Every now and then.
So
Every 5 minutes.
when you
yeah.
explode them and they're all separate, does that mean
Separate
management
boards,
team
separate management
they're all,
teams,
okay, so they're all
everything.
separate too.
Everything.
That's gonna be a lot of work for you.
So-
It
That's
was.
paperwork, at
It
least.
was, yes. The
Structure.
Lawyer Relief Act, for sure, yeah.
But he really designed an awesome structure for us. But it was the beginning of a family office, and to where we fast forward to where we are today. We have a portfolio of investments, passive investments, and then we have a portfolio of operating businesses that we have wonderful leadership teams that we provide oversight. It's a little bit like private equity, but we have patient capital. We don't need to buy and sell. We still own Able Roof, for example, from the mid-'90s. It's larger and more diverse now. We have a pet boarding and day camp and grooming business that has 62 locations.
What's that called?
Pet Paradise.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
No, that's Pet Suites or Pet Palace.
I don't have any pets, so I just
Pet Paradise Resort and Spa.
Okay.
It's headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida. So
there's
it's
none around
not
here.
here.
Okay, so
Not
I've
yet.
not seen it.
Not yet. And then we have a high-end residential landscaping portfolio of companies as well.
we're going down the rabbit hole here, but how did you acquire? I understand the roof thing. That seems kind of materialsy. How do you get a pet boarding business? Like, how does that come into
Well, it
fold? It's completely different.
It was in
So
the,
it's a shame this is not a video podcast because Tim had the classic look of the corporate lawyer who's like, the CEO gets these ideas.
I have no
And
idea.
I just,
Wasn't-
yeah.
No, it was 10 years ago. We were looking at actually the fourth generation. I'm third. We're third. What they're interested in, and what the trends are going forward, and humanization of pets.
Mm-hmm.
We all see it. Dogs are our humans, and so we did a lot of research.
Certainly in the Crane family, they're all pretty human.
Yeah.
Very human. So we really looked around. We started looking locally. We investigated. We also knew we wanted to look at through the years in terms of our acquisition strategy. We had looked at entrepreneurs, like Steve Weil of Able Roof. We were kind of moving up the chain in terms of middle market. So someone who's developed, who has put systems and controls and has a great leadership team. So we looked locally, and then we got connected to this business out of Jacksonville, Florida. It was a great partner and is to this day. So we've been growing. They had 29 resorts then, and so we've grown exponentially to 62, and we're still growing.
That's cool.
And it's all about leadership. We really look for trends. What are some growth categories? Pets, high-end residential landscaping, and then we find great companies with great leaders.
I mean, it's really smart to be diversified because you just never know what's going to happen. And I can't think of something that would knock out the pet industry and the roofing industry at the same time.
Well, the pandemic.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's everything.
Or 2008. So the funny thing is, not funny, in 2008, when we had 9 companies, we thought we were pretty diverse until we said, wait, they're all in building products.
Right.
And then 2007, 2008 came along. We realized maybe we weren't as diverse as we thought. So that's when we started broadening the approach.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't know if it's as exciting, just as an aside, as Captain Crunch.
It's going to be hard, but more of it.
When we got the call to come to Columbus, Jamie was the brand manager. So Tanny went to Northwestern. Jamie
good call.
Jamie went to Northwestern.
Also good call.
Got their MBA. Tanny worked for Quaker Oats. Jamie worked for Quaker Oats.
Sisters.
Tanny was brand manager. Yeah, I know. I know. They sing that song every time
Christmas.
White Christmas comes on every year. It's, oh, here we go again. But so Jamie was also at Quaker Oats. Then she went to Kraft. So when we got the call, she was the brand manager of Velveeta.
Oh, wait a minute. Wow. That is rivaling Captain Crunch.
It is, isn't it?
Well, her dad used to call her, and she would joke when they joke back and forth, and she'd go, "Dad, how big are your sales?" So anyway, I digress.
No.
If we had known this, we would have gone with some kind of a.
Yeah, we would have started a bunch of food.
We would have gone like.
Is there a third food connection? Because this is a great start.
we would have gone processed food. Start bunch cut there. I'm sure that
Velveeta's real cheese. I'm sorry. It's not.
So
processed cheese.
I knew as soon as I went down there I was going to offend somebody in the fence.
You might enjoy this Velveeta story from my past. When I got my first job at a law school, my firm was going to pay for my moving expenses, but I don't have anything, so I wanted to move something. So I went to this Costco and got this like 10-pound box of Velveeta, and it's shelf stable, so I just packed this box, and the law firm moved my Velveeta for me.
Oh my God.
I had some clothes too.
Smartest 10-year-old boy I know.
That Velveeta lasted a long time, man.
Wow, yeah.
I just bought the Captain
But it's
Crunch
real
when I
cheese.
got there. Yeah.
We really digressed.
I destroyed the whole podcast.
You bought a 10-pound box of Velveeta.
It was like this.
So you could have someone pay to move it?
I mean,
I'm just curious. Do you still have it?
I finished it thinking. I mean, Velveeta was good on like everything.
Everything.
I mean, you can eat Captain Crunch anytime, but Velveeta enhances anything, except for maybe Captain Crunch.
Well, I was going to say, it might work.
We'll try it. Try anything once.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's been a Velveeta and Captain Crunch mashup.
Oh,
yet.
that
Just sounds.
Do we have enough connections back with your former employers to make this happen?
Oh, yeah.
I got this idea.
Yeah. So, so as you guys look now at, and this is, I'm not trying to pretend to be some high-end business podcast, but I am curious. There's so much uncertainty now in the market, and everybody has to manage through uncertainty. When you face a time like this, or when you face 2008, or when you face the pandemic, how do you think about managing through this level of uncertainty and kind of watching out for the business and watching out for the people and all those kinds of things? How do you get your head around these kind of problems?
Well, it's, harken back to our core values, respect, family, and community, and we kind of live by it. So leadership matters, and we've got great people at Crane, so we have to come together. I mean, it's tough. Got to manage cash. Got to manage, kind of look around us and see if we can do more with less. But we have to model the behavior. But we have a lot of trust in the account. I always think about trust in the trust account. And I think our people are committed, and I think community matters. So at times like this, we have to make some tough decisions, but we stay together because we've counted on each other before, and we'll count on each other again. And then we're also just out in the community making a difference, because we know it's not just us. I go back to Dad. We have a responsibility to the community, and our colleagues. I mean, everyone's on a board, or everyone's out in the community, and then we volunteer together. So I think that helps keep us together during tough times. That's not just about us, but it's about the community.
Well, and I did want to come back to, so we've talked here about the investments you guys have made in the Bob Crane Community Center, but you and I got to know each other during my previous life with the City of Columbus, and really kind of the investments that you guys made, both frankly in terms of not just the capital, but the time and the effort that you put into the Reeb Center down on the south side, and that was such a fantastic passion of yours with your good friend Jane Grody,
The pizza lady.
Yeah.
Was Steve nice to you during that early? We've heard stories that he was kind of mean.
No, it's hard for me to have to say this, because I used to think of the city as Columbus, bureaucracy.
Yeah.
During our time, I'm pounding on the table now.
No, you can. Steve can't.
Yeah. The guest is allowed to pound on the table. I'm not.
During the time that we were through Mayor Coleman, it was really his dream, as we were getting together on the south side and getting together with the city. There was never a time the city didn't say yes, or how can we do it versus no. And I was so prepared for, we can't do that. There was only one person in the whole city. She finally retired. But anyway.
So it wasn't Steve.
It wasn't Steve. The Department of Development was just awesome. It was really a pleasure to work with the city. Still
I definitely
is.
should have previewed that question, because I like people saying mean things about you, not nice things.
No, and I will choose this opportunity. You talked about the importance of leadership, and that really did come down from Michael Coleman. I mean, the mayor, with Coleman, you knew what the marching orders were, right? And it was never anything, nothing had a blank check, but you knew what the priority was. And if it was the priority, your job was to figure out the solution, not to figure out the problem. And I learned a ton from Coleman during those times, because it was, this is a really, really important project. It really matters. And if there's a quote unquote rule that doesn't have a really good reason, then change it, right? Don't just look at the rule, look at the logic behind the rule and ask if it still applies. Mm-hmm. And so that was something that, I took from him, and frankly, it helped me a lot on this project, because, this project didn't follow the traditional rules for how to build a community center and where to build a community center and all those sorts of things. So,
and just one other group of people was Jane, my friend Jane's father, Jim Grody, and then Don Kelly, Bob Weiler. These guys, they don't like meetings. They don't like to be on committees. They just get stuff done. And they got stuff done. And they taught Jane and me so much about their values and working with Mayor Coleman. And it's like, it just opened the door to, we're going to do this. And it's going to be unconventional, but we're going to get it done.
Well, and along those lines, Michael Coleman was mentored by Mel Schottenstein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he started out, as an associate. So, and Mel sort of had that attitude that it's just like, no, we're going to do this. We may have to figure out a unique way to do it, but So that just kind of, cascades down.
So when you guys look at when you look at opportunities on the philanthropic side, what is it that what do you look for in a philanthropic project? What are the things that you guys look at and say, okay, these are the kinds of projects that we think make the kind of difference that we want to see and we want to be a part of?
Good.
I think impact to the people, impact to the community. So I can remember being in the car and listening to Bob Crane talking about how, and some of his peers about how they just want to make Columbus, and Mel Shotson used to say, make Columbus the kind of place where your kids want to come back to.
Yeah.
And when you think about it and you look at it that way, then the wheels start to turn and you go, oh, okay, we need a community center, or we need an opera, or we need, a good symphony, and those kind of things. It's that, and then it's also, just the welfare of the overall people. Because a community is, only as strong as its most vulnerable folks out there.
Yeah.
So if you lift everybody up, and then that's what makes a great community.
That's
I
awesome.
think we paid a lot of attention to equity, and this city globally. The city will not be successful unless everyone's successful.
Right.
All boats.
Right.
So whether it's affordable housing, whether it's public education, we really lean in.
Yeah, that's great. And, I think one of the things that I've tried to use with this opportunity with the community center is I do like giving you guys the opportunity to highlight how you all see philanthropy and the importance of it and how much of a difference folks can make, because you guys have done such a fantastic job of your approach to it and your commitment to it. And I've seen it. The Crane Group doesn't give money to just every project. You guys really do take the time and look and see which projects make sense, which projects are going to have that impact. And then it's not just the money that you contribute, it's you and your team leaning in and bringing the talent to the table too. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Can I ask a really dumb question?
Sure.
So
Can I stop you?
You can stop me if you have to.
No. That's okay.
This building is awesome. Obviously, couldn't have been done without y'all's help. If there was one thing that could be added, like in phase 7.
Like if we had unlimited, like we could go up
You're not
another
paying for it,
5,
obviously.
another 5 floors. What would you? I know what he wants.
Yeah.
This
This
he's
is a
got-
very self-interested question.
He's got a purpose behind this question.
I don't know. Ice hockey rink? I don't know.
I was going to go with curling, right?
Ooh.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
learned how to do that.
Yeah.
That was super fun.
If we did that, we could sort of make Columbus, not, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
This could be the headquarters.
The
for
curling capital
You
of
have all
the
the
Midwest.
could.
Olympic curlers
It
to
could.
come from Upper Arlington.
So more practical.
Okay.
Well, there goes our idea. I got one. I got one on it.
Usually
Wait a minute.
Usually it's the lawyer
yeah,
saying
I was
that.
going to say, I've picked up that this is usually the reverse. How
We
this
were about to
goes.
sign the curling contract, but apparently you've got a better idea.
Well, no, this is just motivated by my dad and his brother. So it's fantastic that Ohio State has 33,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And just going through it yesterday is just phenomenal. I'm just sad that Jameson Crane Sports Medicine Institute, it would have been really cool if part of their physical therapy or something could be here, so Bob and Jim could be together. So that would be on my wish list.
So I took the approach through this whole thing to make sure that the Bob Crane sign was bigger than the Jameson Crane sign. That was my approach. So I'm sorry that I missed. It's the competitiveness in me that I just figured everybody else was like that.
So do you
And this is the corporate attorney now jumping in to say, no comment.
Well played.
So my question is, do you think it's ever going to be called the Bob?
He calls it that already.
I do
love
call
that.
I do call it that, and however, I am a big believer in kind of letting the market of ideas kind of settle where it wants to go on that. So I'm avoiding calling it that, like
You
publicly.
can't make your own nickname.
No, it's
Probably
right,
goes the same
exactly.
with buildings.
I can't. Yeah,
Spoken like somebody with kids. They're going to do what they're going to do.
exactly.
But
precisely.
Steve has referred to it as the Bob.
I do call it the Bob occasionally, and it's a whole lot easier than saying the Bob Crane
I know,
Community
it's a
Center.
lot.
So if you're in
It's a lot.
favor of it, it will probably grow more.
It would probably be easier to get that name to stick if you had curling here.
Oh yeah. Wait, I gotta go to the Bob to do some curling. Boom, done. Is that branding appropriate? Not as good as
Take it.
Chris's.
You're gonna have
Crunchberries,
some.
but-
You're gonna need like some Molsons with that or something too, assuming we can still get them.
Right.
So,
You can get them at just by price.
yeah. Well, listen, this has been a lot of fun. As I told you guys in our little 3 seconds of prep, we always end with 2 questions. What do you love about UA, and what would you change?
Good.
Love the goodie shop.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's not to love? So within the goodie shop,
oh.
is
Yeah,
it the
like a-
cinnamon
No,
bars?
no question.
Well, okay, so
Or is there
I-
a deeper cut than the cinnamon bars? The cinnamon bars is
Oh,
the easy
the
thing.
birthday-
the birthday cakes.
Okay. Now,
never had a
It's-
birthday
it's- so I typically don't eat cake bread.
yeah.
But whenever there's a goodie shop cake, it's history.
So how about the big donut cake? That's the one that my kids are. Oh, you haven't seen that? It's a donut the size of a cake.
Wow.
And do you eat it yourself or do you cut it as a cake?
You do. Most
I would
people.
just eat the donut.
Most people cut it and serve it like basically like cake. So that's what my kids. Well, one of my kids always wants that for his birthday. Yeah, and he's just turned 21, and that's what we got him for his 21st birthday. So
Wow. That is
yeah,
super.
Andres
Oh my
is
gosh.
Andres. By the way, I didn't introduce Andres, who's in the producer chair. Oh, you got that for your daughter. That's very. He's showing a picture of his daughter with. I think they call them cronuts or something like that.
No, a cronut is different. A
Oh.
cronut is a croissant and a donut.
Oh, that's right. I forget what they call them. Anyway,
Also awesome.
they are. Yeah, those are awesome. So okay. So anyway, you're a fan of the cakes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and the icing. Oh,
All right. So you love the goodie shop.
yep.
What would you change?
So when I was growing up in Champaign, Illinois, we lived across from a park, and the park district came along and they built, from some other project they were working on, this gigantic sled hill.
Oh.
And it's a real sled hill. It's not
Not like a hill that
not
people
like
make.
Thompson Park or I mean, it's a real. You look at it and go, oh my God, that's a sledding hill, and it's still there today. And it was, I think they put that in when I was 8 years old. And if you get half inch of snow, you still see like scads of kids on there.
Where can we put a sled hill,
I
Steve?
don't know. So
Because I'm all in favor of this.
I'm looking at you. I'm like, oh my God, Darren's going to be all. He's going
This
to.
and curling would just make Upper Arlington perfect again.
Darren's got visions of a bobsled track and all this kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
He's thinking large. I don't know. Well, we're getting ready to redo our parks comprehensive plan. Maybe we'll throw that in there
All of
as
a
a
sudden, the
suggestion.
questionnaires will spike. Need sled hill and curling. Wow, where'd all that come from? That's a good suggestion.
Yeah. All right, Tanny. How about you?
So what do I like?
What do you love, and what would you change?
Well, I love the community spirit. Like the 4th of July parade. There's just nothing like it. I mean, I remember when I was 5 years old and the folks would go up and down the street with the loudspeakers. It's a 4th. There was nothing better about Arlington than the 4th of July parade. What would I change? Gosh, there just was never like a community center. Oh,
Oh, hey. It's amazing when you have the power to help change something.
Boom.
What can happen?
one thing I don't want to change, but it's far beyond me, is I love Jones Middle School. I mean, I know they're going through all these discussions right now, but that is the most iconic building in Upper Arlington, and just the history. I know my dad graduated
Yeah.
from there, and that's certainly, I went to school there. My sister's brothers went there, so
It used to be the high school, right?
yeah, it used to be the high school.
Okay.
And then it was junior high, and now it's the middle school, but it's iconic.
So I do actually. I have. So I'm on a committee that they've got that's helping steer that, and I have a lot of faith. Number one, the middle school will stay there.
Yeah.
I think the big question is, can they add on to get them some more space, in particular for gymnasium.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And the team that is doing the architecture on it is the same firm that was kind of the second chair on this building, Perkins and Will, and they were second chair on the last round of stuff. And when we did this project, they talked about some of the kind of historic schools that they'd done in the Chicago area. And the rehabs and the things that they'd done there. So I actually have a fair amount of confidence in that team's ability to look at a building like Jones and make the most out of the architecture.
Yeah.
Now it may end up, I mean, the interior is just a mess and it's been rehabbed so many times. But you know, I think they'll be able to do a little better than just kind of a facadectomy where they just kind of keep the facade and completely got the interior. I think they'll keep some of the interior stuff, but I think they've got the talent on hand to be able to make that one work.
Yeah, it was a special place because we lived on Barrington Road, and my grandparents lived on Guilford right in Arlington, and Mamu used to walk to our house, and then we'd sometimes walk home with her. We always walk past Jones, and she'd always have comments to make. So it just has such special memories.
I don't have positive memories of my high school.
Well, you were in Oxford, so
Yeah,
that's
and
just
it got paved. It's a parking lot now. So.
Oh, it did. Wow.
So if you like it, let's
Keep it. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming in, spending a little bit of time with us to have a little bit of fun and learn a little bit more and just kind of sit and have a conversation. So thanks so much for coming in.
It was
Thanks
great
so
fun.
much.
Thank you
This is
both.
fun.
Thanks.
Take care. We were going to do the chorus. That's okay.
That was not me.